Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Dr. John Michael Salvato here. You're watching the Peak Performance Blueprint. If you happen to be one of our guests today and you're not part of the Peak Performance Blueprint movement, we welcome you. This program is a program that happens Monday through Thursday at 12 noon Eastern Time, Fridays at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, and our focus is quite simply to provide mind shift edification, training, and support so that every single day we can make a single shift in our mindset that brings us closer to peak performance in all aspects of our lives. This is not a network marketing program. It's not an affiliate program. It is strictly a mentoring program, my opportunity to give back after 18 years of working personally with the late Mr. Jim Rohn, with incredible industry giants like Larry Thompson, Dr. Louise Hay, so many others. I made a commitment that one day I would do what I could to make that kind of training, that level of mentoring, accessible to the masses. And so that's what we're doing here. And we're really excited about it. And today I'm particularly excited. I know we've got a couple folks that are going to join in a little bit late. And I have, we've got our groups of folks who work every day. So they will be tuning in to the rebroadcast. And we, certainly are glad that they're able to do that. But for the past week, we've been talking about fear. We've been talking about identifying fear, identifying some of the, some of the markers of fear in our lives, some of the causes of fear in our lives. Today, we're going to take a little bit different approach. Today, we're going to, this whole week is focused on releasing that fear. And yesterday, we talked about some of the things we could do to release the fear. Today, I promised I was going to share with you the formula that I use that was shared with me by Jim Rohn, some 35 years ago, maybe 34 years ago, that has really stuck with me because it's simple. It's something that I can keep in mind no matter what obstacles come up, what challenges come up, and I can make sure that on a daily basis that I'm able to address those issues and stay on track. So what I want you guys to do is, whether you do it live with us today or you do it when you watch the rebroadcast, consider taking a piece of paper and jot some of these things down. Now, they will be on the blog later on today for those who are actually members of the Peak Performance Program. And if you're not a member, you can find out more at barefootmillionairemastermind.com. And there's a short video on there, an interview between myself and Jenny Jordan. That gives me an opportunity to explain what we're doing with this mentoring program, what we're doing with our training. But what I want you to write at the top of your page is success. And success in this case is an acronym. The acronym stands for see your goals clearly, understand the obstacles, cultivate a positive mindset, clear your mind of chaotic data, embrace the challenge, stay on track, and serve others, and trust in the process. So let's jump in and let's talk a little bit about this, and then then I'll take questions or any comments that you guys might have, after that, and any observations, anything that you want to share, because the purpose of this daily mind shift is really just to try and give you a 15-minute, sort of anchor from which you can take into the rest of your day and hopefully start to make some positive changes every day. So first is see your goals clearly. Now, you've heard it said before, I'm sure everybody teaches you that, if you're going to be successful, you have to have clearly defined goals. If you're going to be successful, you have to have a clearly defined why. And for different people, that means different things. For me, in order to have something clearly defined, it has to be written down. I can't imagine, anything being clearly defined. Now, granted, I'm high-functioning autistic. It might just be part of my wiring, but ask yourself if you can be absolutely crystal clear about something that's as important as your goals, without taking the time to write it down. And if the answer is yes, then go for it. For me, it has to be written down because I have to flesh it out. There's a whole process that happens when you're writing something down, and I have to begin with why. I have to understand in my mind very clearly what the reason is for what I'm doing. It's not enough to say, okay, my goal is that I want to make $1,000 a week. You have to have a really clear goal. Your goal should be something like, I'll make $1,000 a week by being a better servant leader, by delivering value to the marketplace through my wellness business or my telecom business or my coaching business, whatever it is, so that I can leave this world a better and healthier place than I found it. And doing this will allow me the freedom to travel the world more with my spouse and spend more time taking care of our elderly parents or the poor or the children or whatever the case might be. See, that's a clearly defined goal. And it's clear because not only is the why clear, so that I can spend time, have the time freedom to spend time with my partner, to travel, to see my parents, whatever. But the how is also clear. And when the why is clear, Jim Rohn always said that the how would take care of itself. But when you're defining your goal, you really need to make sure that the how is included in that goal. If you're going to make $1,000 a week, great. How are you going to make that? Are you going to make that in network marketing? You're going to make that by taking on a second job? You're going to make that by investments? Are you going to make that by selling drugs? What's your deal? Your goal. It's not a goal if you don't have a plan. It's a dream. So in order to make it a goal, make sure that you see your goals clearly. Then the second letter is U. Understand the obstacles, and that's an area that's uncomfortable for most of us. What are the most common objections that exist from prospective clients or customers, no matter what kind of business you're going to start? Maybe you're going to start a lawnmower store and sell yard and gardening equipment. Well, what are the obstacles that are going to come your way? The biggest obstacle I can think of, because that's not my industry, is you're competing with the big box stores. You're competing with Lowe's and Home Depot and the department stores. So our customer is going to be willing to pay your price in order to get better service. Maybe you provide your customers with a maintenance contract for free at no extra charge. They pay a little bit extra, but they can bring their lawnmower in the beginning of every season for a quick little tune-up. I don't know. That's just an example of one obstacle that might come up for business. I've got a close friend who whose life right now is in a state of some uncertainty. There's a lack of stability there, and they're working on addressing that because they understand that while the universe will always provide for them, the biggest obstacle in growing a successful home-based business is what happens in that prefrontal cortex. If your prefrontal cortex recognizes that you don't have a home base, then and because things are changing in your life, you're at a time of transition. The prefrontal cortex says, how can we have a home-based business? There is no home base. And so that slows their growth down. So you focus on that obstacle, getting it out of the way so that your plan will make sense. Another friend is going through the same sort of thing in a relationship. If their relationship is creating a constant challenge, a constant obstacle for them being able to do what they need to do on a daily basis to move forward, then they need to address the obstacles first. Make sure that you know what the obstacles are, and there's no shame in identifying the obstacles for what they are and saying, this is an obstacle and I need to get rid of it. So then the C comes in, and the C is cultivate a positive mindset. When you understand and you come back to the moment, you recognize that your love and pure awareness, at the very essence of your being, that those are your true nature. That the body and all of the systems and organisms, the aggregate senses of the body are not really who you are. That's the body, that's the shell. Who you really are is pure awareness and love. And we learned yesterday in discussing fear that whatever is not love is fear, and that fear isn't real. Fear is that diluted state of mind that comes from thinking that we're not connected to our source. So when we work on our mindset, we return to the moment, we remember who we really are, then there's no place for fear in the equation. We remember that acronym, that fear is false evidence appearing real. And in the moment, we can let go of the false evidence, and that's how you cultivate a positive mindset. The next step goes hand in hand with that, and that's clearing the mind of chaotic data. And this is the one that really gets me. When we started this program back in February for this year's program, I sent everybody that was participating a copy of my book, Shunyata: The Transformative Power of Emptiness. And and I sent them a digital version, of course. And what's interesting, excuse me, to me, is as we've been going through this journey for these past, I don't know how many, for 6 months, 7 months, there have been folks who've said, I'm still really struggling with letting go of worry. I'm struggling with letting go of fear. I'm struggling with letting go of not believing in myself, or whatever that the issues might be. And when I hear that, it just lets me know that those people did not read the book. Or if they read the book, they didn't put any of the practices to work in their lives, because maybe they thought that the practices were too simple. Maybe they thought they wouldn't be effective. Maybe they just haven't read the book. But you have two choices. You can buy the hardcover version of the book, and then every time a difficult thought arises in your head, every time something undesirable happens, you can hit yourself in the head with the hardcover book, and that's not very effective, and it also is kind of embarrassing in public. Or you can actually read that book and start that practice. As crazy and silly as it sounds, as simple as it sounds, I promise you one thing: it works. So there's a simple process for releasing chaotic data from the subconscious level, and if you actually apply yourself and do it every single day, it takes 15 minutes a day. I'm telling you, incredible stuff starts to happen. Now, some of you have actually taken the book and read it, and they're the folks that we start to see starting to have some incredible stuff, some amazing things happen in their lives, some transformations that have just would not have been possible had they not begun to apply those things. So again, that's clearing the mind of chaotic data, the second C in success. Then we have embrace the challenge, and anything that's worth pursuing in your life is going to be a little bit frightening, you're going to be a little apprehensive, and there's going to be risks and there's going to be challenges. And Jim Rohn would tell us, all life asks of us is that we make measurable progress in a reasonable amount of time. After all, that's why fourth grade desks are made so small. So if you're looking for an easy button, you're in the wrong place, because we don't play those kind of games in this group. If you're looking for a life without challenges, if you're looking for, if you thought that being part of the Peak Performance Program was going to eliminate the challenges in your life, I'm sorry to tell you, that's not how life works. There are going to be challenges. There are going to be times when it's a little uncomfortable. There's going to be times when you feel like giving up, but if your why is clear, you push on through. And I just want to share with you guys, and I'm going to try and recap all this stuff on the blog. Maybe it might take me an hour or so after the show, but just bear with me. But think about this. In 1983, it was my third year in this industry. I was savagely raped and beaten and left for dead. The assailants put a gun to my head. They pulled the trigger. It misfired, luckily for me, and they ran off. But that rape left me torn up physically inside, just shredded and bleeding internally. It emotionally scarred me. There was a lot of blood loss, and that experience exposed me to the AIDS virus. And yet, despite those challenges, that year I earned $474,900 in my business. So challenges can be overcome. In 1986, the Senate subcommittee decided to start a witch hunt, really, because herbal nutrition was so new in this country. So they called all these nutrition companies, USANA and Herbalife were the two that were their biggest focus, and the biggest, the two that were attacked the most. And so the president of Herbalife was called to testify. And the day before he was called to the stand to testify, 55% of our entire sales team dropped out of business. 55% of the company quit that day. In the weeks that followed, my team lost another 18% of its members. And yet, the following year, we had the biggest year. My income grew by $98,000 that next year. So, it certainly had dropped, but it grew from where it was the day after those trials. It grew by $98,000 the next year. Most people don't make $98,000 a year, period. And so despite having this remember, herbal nutrition and companies like USANA and Herbalife were very new to the American mindset, to the American consciousness, and so people didn't know whether they were safe processes, whether they were safe programs to become a part of. And the Senate subcommittee certainly didn't do anything to help. And yet, the following year, we had growth. In 1990, my companion Ron unexpectedly got pneumonia. He died of AIDS. and I walked away from the condo that we were buying, let it fall into foreclosure. I gave my car to a group of monks, and several months after his death, I was in the hospital with pneumonia again. 18 months later, I was in a home-based business making $26,000 a month. Well, by then I think it was about $24,000 a month, but it grew to $26,000 a month. In 2005, my partner at that time got cancer, and and we were faced with $1.6 million in medical bills after the $2 million cap was reached in our insurance, and then he died. I was stuck with $1.6 million in medical bills. My best friend in the world was gone. 3 years later, I was debt-free, the president of a successful coaching company and mentoring program and consulting practice, living in Washington, D.C. in a $2,400 a month condo near Catholic University. So I'm telling you these things not to impress you. I'm telling you them to impress upon you that life is going to throw you challenges. Some days it's going to suck. Some days it's going to worse than suck. It's going to be devastating. But you have within you the ability to overcome those challenges if you so desire. If you want those challenges to run your life, to let life consume you instead of you consuming life, then that's what's going to happen. But if you want, you can consume life. You can use this stuff, as Ram Dass says, as grist for the mill. And so the S in success, the first S stands for stay on track, and the second S stands for serve others. And those are the two final keys. We've talked about in the earlier part of this mentoring program that if you want to be a success, then you've got to make a decision that you want to be a servant leader, because servant leaders bring value to the marketplace. Self-imposed or self-declared leaders are really all about what's in it for me, and they're about how do I manipulate people to do what I want them to do. So when you stay the course, but by staying focused on doing the right things, and you're a servant leader, then growth happens in all aspects of your life. Because again, as we started to say the other night, this is not about building, whatever company that you're with. This is not about growing whatever program that you're promoting or whatever job or employer you have. This is about building your brand. And by building your brand, you're building your value in the marketplace, and the marketplace will reward you. And then you're not tied to any one company. You're not tied to any one social media platform. You're not tied to any one group of people, because your value is determined by the value you bring to the marketplace. Your income is determined by the value you bring to the marketplace. That's the only reason I was able to walk away from a tremendous income with my last company and say, I'm not going to be part of the unethical things that you want me to do with my videos. I'm not going to be part of that, and I can replace this income, and can replace this income within 90 days. I'm absolutely certain of it, and I could walk away. And I walked away without even knowing where I was going to replace the income. I just said, I just have to work a little bit harder and build my consulting practice. And because I stayed in that moment, because it wasn't about my ego, it was about bringing value to the marketplace, that's when opportunities open themselves to me. And then I had to get out of my own way. I had to let my ego go again, because I had already announced that I was retired from the industry. And when the opportunity was put in front of me to take a look at a network marketing company, I said, I just retired. I'm done. I'm not interested in network marketing. But somebody showed me something that made such tremendous sense, that could have such an impact on so many people's lives, and I said, you know what? I can't retire right now. I got to stay the course for another 2 to 3 years and help create 5 more millionaires, because this is the legacy I want the most. I want to be able to give back to this industry what Jim Rohn gave to me so generously for 18 and a half, 19 years. And so that's the formula that we use for success. That's today's mind shift. If you guys, if you weren't able to take notes, if you're, doing something else, you're listening to this from work, whatever, just know that within an hour, it's 12:20 now Eastern Time. By 1:30, I will have notes up for this segment on the blog. So if you're a member of the Barefoot Millionaire Blueprint, then you can actually log in and get the notes and get a little bit more information about the success formula. But at this point in the program, we've gone 20 minutes. I usually try to keep this at 15 and then open it up to your questions and comments. I apologize for that, but luckily today we only have 2 folks who were able to get in live. So if you guys have any comments that you want to share, this is your opportunity to do that. Anything that you want to, any questions you want to ask, any comments you want to share, I'm all yours.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
I just wanted to say thank you. You know, this, you know, my situation and the chaos of the moment that I'm dealing with, and this is really helpful as a blueprint to be able to focus on. So
good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I'm glad to be able to help in some small way, but I'm compelled to point out that you know, the applause goes to you, because in the chaos of the moment, the uncertainty and everything else, you're doing it. You know, you could allow yourself to be paralyzed by fear, to be paralyzed by depression, to be paralyzed by all the things that come up when life throws us a bucket of shit, and we have to figure out what to do with it. And you're not that person. You know, you're saying, no, I'm staying the course. I'm going to do. You're doing a lot of the things we're talking about. And so I know for you that the answer exists within you, and it might be an uncomfortable answer. It might not be, you know, it might be like I just went through, something I wasn't, you know, interested or ready to endeavor. But whatever it is, that answer is going to unfold for you, and you will find the solution to that situation. You know, and I know you'll find it in short order. Sometimes, unfortunately, for some of us that are that creative and that are that visionary, and those of us that are indigos especially, you know, sometimes we have to hit that really crappy spot that some people call excuse me, some people call rock bottom. I don't like to say that because I don't like to challenge the universe to go any lower. So
Right.
we have to hit that spot that lets us say, okay, now I have a sharper perspective because I've been knocked on my ass and I'm laying down, and now I can look up at the stars. And now I've forced myself to slow down. For me, it happens when, you know, on days like today, when the Parkinson's isn't behaving and my voice isn't behaving, and so I know I'm not going to get a lot of phone calls done. And that just means, okay, today's a day that I go walk along the riverfront a little bit longer, and I talk to people who are in my business and help them advance their business, because it doesn't matter if my voice is weak. And incredible stuff always comes up on those days. Incredible conversations happen. So yes. I know that something good is you know, getting ready to happen for you. And I apologize that just came across sounding like Benny Hinn, but you know, but I know it. I know that it really is. That something great is going to happen, and it's going to come from within you, not anything that I did or anybody else did.
No, I understand, but I really appreciate the reflection back, because in the middle of the craziness, it's difficult to have to ascertain where I am.
Sure. And I love that, and I love that I can be that mirror, because that's my goal for each one of you is not to be the genius and the superstar, the savior. It's just to be the mirror that reflects back to you what you already know that you need to do. So, so thank you for that. I really appreciate that.
And one other thing I want to say is that your voice is not coming across weak in any way today. It's
good.
It's strong and clear.
Good. It's I'm really pushing it to get this through, but I'm also only on my second cup of coffee because I just haven't had the need for coffee today. I've been it's been nonstop since I got up, and I just don't feel compelled to have that extra coffee. So it's a good day. Good things are going to happen. I'm seeing the thunderclouds roll in, so I guess the walk along the riverfront's not going to happen. But I just got a book. I'll share this with you guys and let you go. Just got a book from that Les Brown was promoting. That one of his ingenues just wrote, and it looks like it's an amazing book. It's called Circle of Trust, I believe, and it just came in the mail. So I have my reading material for the week. I have the book I'm going to read for this week. And so I'm pretty
That's a
excited.
timely title, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It's and it was. I found somebody told me about a webinar that he was doing, and it was one of the days when I was laid up in bed. So I said, oh, I'll check it out. I like Les Brown, and
Hmm.
the webinar was really all about selling this guy's book, and I was like, oh, I'm not interested. And then the guy puts a diagram up on the board or projects one up in the background, and he said, "Now I know most of you aren't going to understand what what this diagram means." Well, I understood exactly what it meant because I'm a nerd and I've been involved in social media for so long. And they intentionally made it vague, but I knew what those symbols were all about. And he said, and so this is the process that I use to regrow my business to $20,000 a month, and this is the process that Les Brown started using of mine. That's put an extra $10,000 a month in his pocket so that he can really start moving toward retirement. I mean, he's 72 years old,
Yeah.
and I said, "Wow, I have got to read this guy's book because I'm sure this guy's not coming from network marketing; he's coming from affiliate marketing." And I've always been fascinated by the differences in the approach. And if he's doing this, he's a medical student, so I could really relate as a physician. I thought, let me see what this medical student has come up with, because a lot of times the most brilliant ideas that inspire me come from people that are outside my industry.
Hmm.
And some of the most brilliant thinkers who revolutionize industries come from outside our industry. So
Hmm.
I thought, let's see what this guy has to say. And I thought it was going to be like a little, skinny little nothing booklet, like the booklet that I put out for Prosperity Reinvented, just something to inspire people to think.
Hmm.
And this is a full-on book. And they sent it to me. It was like $7 that you paid for shipping and handling, and the book itself was free. So it was a great deal. I loved being on that webinar because it just really motivated me. And the next day was when I got a phone call from my friend at Empower who said, when are you going to come and look at the platform? You keep telling me, and you keep, encouraging folks on LinkedIn, saying what a great job they're doing, but you've never set up a profile. And I was like, yeah, I know, I've got to do it. And he said, I saw that you just walked away from your network marketing business, so you should have some free time on your hands. And I was like, okay, you just took away all my objections. I'll go take a look at what you're doing. And I set up my profile that night, and there was that word again, circle of trust. And I was like, this is this is a little bit of synergy,
Synchronicity.
yeah, going on here. And that night, I was at the grocery store, ran into my friend, with whom I started to partner on this venture, and or actually ran into the person that I was buying my product from, which led me to sit down that night and say, got to find a sales rep. I logged into Empower, and that's when I ran into the gentleman that I got involved with Skinny Body through, because he was not involved with the woman I was buying my product from, and I didn't have to do business with her. So it was really just one of those things that there was, synchronicity and serendipity all along the way.
Right.
And it's been kind of an exciting 15, 16 days now. It's 16 days today.
It's
So
like what I call playing follow the dots.
yeah, exactly. And then finding out that it turns into a masterpiece, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So any other questions or comments? Ely, anything you want to add or ask?
No, just like listening.
All right, cool. Well, we're glad you were here, and I'll certainly include you on the daily mailing list if you want to jump in and listen. And just so that you know too, with it, because I know you're new to this platform, you can, if you hover over your picture to the top of the page, you can always turn your camera off, so that you're not, so that you're free to move about. The only person who's stuck on camera on this program is me. So I always have to make sure I at least have a T-shirt on and don't get up from the table if that's all I have on. But everybody else can leave their, can have their cameras off, and quite often do. We have people who call in from their phone while they're driving and stuff, and I don't want them getting distracted by the camera.
Also, it's early morning for me. I'm not camera ready at this hour.
Yeah, both of you are on the West Coast, so so I appreciate you being here at 9 o'clock in the morning. So 9 o'clock in the morning is not when I want to be in front of a camera of any sort. So, guys, And those of you that are watching on the replay, know that you're all appreciated. I really do value all of your input and your participation. We encourage you guys that are part of the program itself to go ahead and comment on the blog if there's any other questions that come up or anything you'd like to share. For those who are usually with us on a daily basis, Sandy and Jennifer and Ita, we miss you. Hope that everything is well, Ita, on your adventures in Algiers, and the rest of you. We encourage you, as we do every day, to stay in the moment, to be grateful for everything you've got. That opens the door for the abundance, the awareness, and the insight that's waiting for you, because that is your true nature, as pure awareness and love. And always remember, the best is yet to come. We'll talk to you guys soon.